In de 20ste Hoppestraat podcast heb ik het met mijn goede vriend Farrell Styers het over de overname van BOM Brewery door de Musketeers, het faillissement van Lighttown Brewing in Eindhoven. En we doen dit hier, weliswaar voor de rest in het Engels, in Farrell en Carl's brouwerij Stroom, volledig live. Laat jullie horen. Nice. Ter ere van het 5-jarig bestaan van mijn Hoppestraat project. Let's go! Hey Farrell.
Hey buddy.
This is fun, isn't it?
It is.
Did you expect this?
No.
Oh, what a turnout. Thank you everybody for coming to Stroom. There's going to be a little interview in the other direction, apparently.
Absolutely. At my request.
I've interviewed many people in the podcast, and Farrell indeed asked me, can I interview you? So you'll get to know me very soon, maybe in ways you don't want to. But first of all, people who don't know who you are, Farrell, you've been on the podcast before. In fact, when I started Hoppestraat 5 years ago, I even made a feature video about Stroom. So if you want to know, thank you. It's been a while. If I look back at it,
Yeah.
I would have done it differently.
I am sure I would have answered differently if I could go back to
Well, amen. However, we have a small window for a little introduction. Who is Farrell? I put an exclamation mark instead of a question mark.
Okay.
But who's Farrell?
From me?
Yeah, who are you?
Yeah, whatever. I'm the dirty immigrant from the brewery. I'm the guy who gives us. It used to be kind of cool to put Belgian American on the can. That's getting less and less cool, like every fucking day.
Can you tell us why?
I'm gonna let you guess. Yeah, let's just call it orange. I'm the head brewer here. I'm originally from Colorado, and now I don't know. I'm all in on the Belgian craft beer scene as
It's nice.
one of those guys.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here. We're not with that many breweries here in Ghent. It's us and you. So,
That's it.
ladies and gentlemen, a little applause for Farrell, my guest for today. Which brings us to, who am I? Well, this is weird. Hey, I'm Jasper. I'm from Hoppestraat. This is my 5th anniversary of my beer project.
Yeah, I have to admit, like, I always refer to it in our socials and, I don't know, when I talk about it as a podcast, but it's more than that. It's more like a blog, and you also have some videos and
Yeah.
the map. I don't know.
Currently, it's mostly just a podcast.
Yeah.
Because I only have this much time I can spend for the project. And the podcast, honestly, has been the idea from the beginning. But yeah, I've done many things. I've done tastings, beer packages. I've done tours in Ghent. I made the map, which we're going to probably talk about. I have a YouTube channel. But yeah, it's been a lot. 5 years, and it went like that. So, Farrell, you have questions for me, apparently.
I do.
This is weird. First of all, before we do that, does everyone have a beer? You all have a beer?
Okay.
Good. So settle up, make yourself comfortable. This is not going to be interesting at all, because it's about me. But let's see what happens.
Well, my first question was, when you first came in here 5 years ago, you were, how would I describe it? You were kind of just one of the craft beer geeks. You were just like this bright-eyed, bushy-tailed young man who was really into the scene.
No hair,
and, I have to imagine that after 5 years, and now for those who don't know, he also works at Dock Brewing, the other craft brewery here in the competition, that's right. And I have to imagine after 5 years, you've seen a lot, you've experienced a lot, and I'm curious how your views on kind of the Belgian craft beer scene, and maybe even just craft beer more generally, how's it changed in 5 years?
It has changed in the way that I didn't expect it to. First of all, what happens is you get to know a lot more people. And where in the beginning craft beer is just beer, now craft beer became people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So suddenly, when you're at a festival, you're gushing over a beautifully brewed lager, but 2 minutes later you're talking about where you're going on vacation and do you know those people and go to that nature reserve. And suddenly it becomes. This is very cheesy, but it becomes a family.
Oh,
But that's the nice side.
okay.
It also turns you to the dark side because you love this industry. And I was actually gonna mention this later in the podcast because the thing is that I've started this with the idea of talking about the beautiful sides of beer, how it's brewed, what all those stories are. That's all amazing. But now I've come at a point that I've noticed that the podcast is more about bankruptcies and it's more about takeovers and it's more about yes, and now this brewery stopped and now this festival has also had to merge with this, and that's what news can become. So I must be vigilant. I must make sure that I keep telling the positive stories of this scene, and that's hard because they are harder and harder to find.
Yeah, it's been a tough few
Years, yeah. And I started, I think, well, Hoppestraat is a COVID baby, as there are many projects in this world. I wonder which one also is turning 5 this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the reality is that at a certain point you're, it's not going so well. So we do need to make sure that we keep telling positive stories. However, what has changed specifically, my vision on it is that, first of all, we're in Belgium, and I can be cynical about the big brands, and I can be also very dark about these big breweries merging on. But we make fucking good beer, and we should not forget about that. Belgium! Yeah, absolutely.
I can say, as an American, you guys do a fucking terrible job of bragging about yourselves. We're guilty of quite the opposite, but I've never been anywhere in the world where people are more humble about their own culture. I remember, this is now probably 5, 6, 7 years, I don't know when, but in the World Cup, it was the US versus Belgium in the
Remember that?
quarterfinals maybe, or maybe whatever, 16, yeah, exactly. Of course, being the American guy, all my Belgian friends were like, "Oh, you have to come over. We're watching this match together," and that whole run in the World Cup, Belgium had everyone in the world knew Belgium had the best team in the world. Whether they would win or not, I mean, you never know. It's sports. That's how these things go. But everyone knew Belgium, knew all the players, and every single match I would go watch with my Belgian friends. They would win, they'd move on, they'd win, they'd move on. And everyone just sat there like, yeah, but they'll never win at all. It wasn't good enough to and I was thinking if this were the States, we would be burning the fucking place to the ground. We're the best, USA, USA. And the Belgians were so and I think it's just a small example of the broader modesty. Culture. It's so modest, which is lovely and endearing. But when it comes to beer, yeah.
It's funny that you bring up football because those are the two things I think the Belgians are the most proud of. So, and cycling, of course. Sorry. Yes, those 3 things. We have
Jasper almost got shivved on his.
By OG Hoppestraat, also fellow host Monsieur Matte. Yes, of course. Those are and even in those things that we are the proudest of, we are modest. It is true. But on the other hand, yeah, I think that's what changed. That was the original question. Remember the question? It's been a decade ago. You have any more questions?
I do.
Cool.
I want you to pick.
Uh-oh.
Anything. It could be a guest, it could be a piece of news, it could be whatever. You've done a lot of shows now. What's something that has surprised you in these last 5 years? Something that you just didn't see coming that came out of this project?
Visiting breweries, the idea. My previous job, I went abroad a lot, and the first thing I always did was I went to the local breweries. So I already knew that those are places that I, for a lack of term, thrive in. Those are the places that I can connect easily with. We have something in common. That's easy. However, this opens doors if you're talking about beer, you're working in a brewery. So, well, opening doors is the wrong word. connects you easier with these people. Like, hey, you're a nerd, you know some stuff. We're not talking about the marketing now. We're going to talk about the brewing process. We're going to talk about what we are. And yes, I've been to breweries that I wouldn't expect to hit me as hard. And suddenly you go to them and you're like having some of the best beers in Belgium that no one talks about. And there are a few of them I think of. I think about Brouwenhenk, which completely surprised me. And Joris, I met now, is a fantastic guy, a fantastic brewer. Some breweries that are like trying to disguise themselves as like, hey, we make a blonde and a triple, and then you dig deeper and they make fantastic beers. And Kruiwinkelhof is an example of that. And there are a few others of those in the country, right? And I think it's because I'm in this world now that I've started to discover, like, we have the mainstream beers, and then underneath there's this, it's like Gotham City. There's like this dark underground that's actually the coolest, you know?
Yeah, that's where the great stuff is happening.
Yeah. What else has surprised me? Well, this is actually the opposite. What doesn't surprise me, and it's a problem, is that it's such a male focused world.
It drives me
Which
crazy.
is weird because it's
Coming from a guy who like started a brewery with another middle-aged man, I realize I'm as deeply guilty of this as
hosting a podcast with mostly men as a guest, which some people have pointed out. And yes, I'm going to make sure that that's going to change in the future.
I can say that we tried and continue to try really, really hard when we hire, when we market, that we're looking at the broader spectrum of people out
Sure.
there. We work really hard at, but I will admit we hired a new sales guy, I think a year ago.
He's not a woman, is he?
He is not. And
It's very
we
handsome,
had
though.
literally, I think we had one CV from a woman, and it was like from India or something. It was one of these, like, it was a non-starter. It wasn't even, and everyone else, it was all men. And we were begging. We were saying it to anyone we could. We were really trying to go out of our way, and it's we work really hard on our marketing and stuff to make sure it's not too like bro culture, but it's really an issue in the industry, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, and looking from abroad, I had no clue. It was I didn't even think about that. But once you're inside, you're like, oh well, these are all dudes.
Exactly.
And a lot of them have beards. And
Everyone's got a beard, exactly. Carl's a good standout.
Yeah.
He's always clean shaven. That's diversity in brewing.
that is the diversity.
Hey, look, that guy doesn't have a beard.
That's wild. He doesn't.
He's got a full head of hair too. It's like it's all wrong.
The delivery guy.
Exactly.
He doesn't listen to metal. That's weird. Thank you. Any more?
Last one.
Cool.
Simple one. What's next?
What's next for Hoppestraat?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we're going to move out of the Hoppestraat. By the way, we made a very bad first. Well, I made it. I keep talking about it in we. I made a very bad first April joke about that. My mother didn't understand the joke, so it must be that something was going on. Great. So, for context, Hoppestraat is the street I live in. Currently.
Literally.
Yes.
Of all the places in the world, you
Yes.
can find a place to live.
Yeah, it's wild, huh?
Yeah.
But we're moving to Wondelgem, and I made a joke on the 1st of April that we're moving to the Brettanomyces bruxellensis street.
Oh man, that's a deep cut.
And
That
I thought
is so nerdy.
But also the logo and everything, instead of the small words of hop, it was like super extended Brettanomyces. It was a very bad joke. I agree. But I thought it was funny on the other hand because it's it's Latin and then mice is actually Greek. It doesn't matter. But the thing is that
The nerdiness just fucking it finds no end.
yeah, well, here we go. And I thought it was really funny. Nobody thought it was funny, so that's good. Nerd, yeah, thank you. That's the next thing, is moving out of the Hoppestraat. Although the name of the podcast will just remain Hoppestraat, so don't worry, we're going to keep that. Because nobody even knew or believed I lived in the
I
street.
knew.
Yes, you knew, you've been there. What's next? To be honest, I currently do not know. We're gonna make an updated version of the walk-in map, which technically is already available digitally, but we're gonna print that soon.
For those who don't know, Jasper, totally on his own, just like made this truly beautiful, incredible map that is a resource for locals and for tourists that gives you walks all through Ghent, that takes you, of course, to all the best beer locations, but on the way he shows you, say you're walking from here to Dock, it's a couple kilometers, it's a bit of a walk, and he shows you 2 different routes you can take and the beautiful things you can see along the way, like, oh, if you go along the water, you'll see the ruins of St. Bavo's Abbey, and then you can stop at the Miat Museum or whatever, and the city got news of this, that this crazy guy had just made this amazing resource, and they said, hey, let's put money behind this and really get it out there. So the city, I think very wisely,
They subsidized the print.
Yeah.
Thank you, City. Thank you, City of Ghent. Woo. Available for free at all the best. Do you still have any maps here?
I think we're out,
Okay,
actually.
so remind me that I need to stock it up. We're gonna have a new print soon. Thank you for this little interview. This was weird, but I'll accept it. One more thing I want to say about 1st April jokes. Yeah, we talked about this earlier, but I do want to make a point of this. And this is not to you, beautiful people here at Stroom. This is to all the breweries listening to this podcast. Belgian breweries, I love you. I really, really love you. But you have to stop making the joke on the 1st of April that instead of putting your beer in bottle, you're gonna put it in can. It's not a good joke.
Oh,
it's not a good
stupid joke.
It's a stupid joke. Some of even the craft beer breweries done it this year. And the biggest example of this is Saison du Pont that did it, I think, 5 years ago, which was funny because they were already releasing Saison du Pont in can in the US. A year later, they officially released Saison du Pont in can. This is not a good joke. We need to get rid of this.
Yeah.
So be better.
Be better.
Be better than Bretonnemeister's Brusselinse Street, but also be better than make jokes. I love 1st April jokes. There were many good ones. I wished I wrote down a few good ones, but this is not how we should do. Shall we go to the first topic? Ladies and gentlemen, the Hoppestraat podcast is a news podcast, which means we're gonna have to go into a bit of boring territory. We're only gonna do 2 topics today, and we're gonna try to keep it short and sweet because you are here. We really appreciate it. We also want to respect your time, but we also want to cover the news, and we have 2 big stories that we need to hit. So with that said, short and sweet. This is fun. I want to do radio. For the first news item, we're starting in Belgium. And this is news we didn't really saw coming, to be honest. Brewery the Musketeers, which is mostly famous for their Troubadour series.
The Magma, yeah.
Exactly. We all started with Magma. Yep. It's a gateway beer for a lot of people to the craft beer scene, so absolutely. I do give them that. They're from Saint-Gilles-Oise. They took over the Belgian original malt bakery and brewery, also known as BOM Brewery, and those are mostly known for their Triporteur series. Some articles were vague, but both Grand Cru magazine as At Last News confirmed that brewing will cease in Roeselare, if any brewing was happening there at all lately. And the entire production will move to Musketeers in the Waasland. So brewer Bart van Hekke basically sold the recipes and the brand. I can't find any information what will happen with the maltery, however.
Yeah, because what I understood from reading up on this, I knew Triporteur beers, but I didn't know anything about the brewery or whatever, and when I was reading about it, they're a maltery, so they just make the grains, I understood.
Well, they don't make the grains, they malt
or
grains.
they malt grains, or maybe even just roast them or something.
And that's what makes Triporteur quite unique. There are not that many malteries here anymore in Belgium. That's also what made their beers quite unique. Do you know we have a connection with Doc?
I have no idea.
With BOM? The brew kit we have is originally theirs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The logo is still on the side, actually. If you go into the
Cool.
brew house, you can still see the BOM logo. Have you tried any of their beers?
Yeah, it's been quite a while, but I remember them actually being, I have to admit, well, whatever. If you work in the industry, you're about you're allowed to be a little bit of a princess, and you're allowed to be a bit opinionated. Even if first thing I did when I opened this place was deleted my entire Untapped profile. So I thought, like, if I'm working in this professionally, no one needs to go back and see the like shitty 2-star rating I gave one of their beers, or the 5-star rating that I gave to some jerk who I've now realized I hate his beers because I just don't like the guy or whatever. But
We all did that, by the way.
so I tend to be, I don't know. There are a lot of these breweries that make the little local like village triple, and I have to admit I've had too many of them, and most of them are just, they're not my thing. Some of them are truly just not even good beers, but some are just like, I'm over it. And I would have guessed they would have been like that, but actually their beers were way more interesting and way better.
Yeah, I would even argue that they were really good. They are a really good brewery. Even, and here's the thing, you know, they make a blonde, they make a brown, and not your typical brown. They made really good IPAs, which was, for this type of brewery, is not so common. So, first of all, I want to point out that they're from Roeselare. Roeselare. Albeit a fun town, it's a bit of a...
Got some Roeselare stands in the audience today.
Well, he's from Dixmude, so...
Dixmude, yeah, that's right.
Roeselare, that's good.
Cool.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. It's a bit of a conservative beer region, to my experience. Even though they are the Rodenbach town, everyone that I ask that comes to our brewery that is from Roeselare, they are not necessarily Rodenbach fans. So it is curious. And indeed, as you said, they brew the Holy Trinity, the triple, the blonde, the brown, which I started calling that mainstream beers instead of traditional beers. I think that's...
It's good. We gotta fight for the real traditional beers.
Yeah, I think so. Also because they're the pop of beer, right?
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with them per se. I love good pop music if it's made well.
Yeah, sure.
They're all over. I think that's a good...
That's great.
Actually,
I'm gonna steal this.
I'm pitching it. So you think it works? I'm
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm into it.
Cool. But just saying, they made a double IPA back in the day. I wrote it down. Bling Blink. I wrote it at 4 stars, and this is only a few years ago. So it was a good IPA. And this was the thing that blew me away. I met them on a festival in Austin a while ago, and they had a gruit.
All right.
A gruit, yeah. And it was brewed with raisin bread, blueberries, and apple and pear syrup. Wow,
right.
It's called Rosy Rosa. And it was the first 5 stars I've ever given on Untapped.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember it being really good. And they brewed it again, I think, a few years later. And I had it again, and I gave it again 5 stars. So,
well, let this be a notice to Musketeers. Don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck it up. They're moving from
Can I say the F
Roeselare.
word on your podcast?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Well, yeah, no, you can do that. This is all good. I actually say that this is not for children. So, they're moving from Roeselare, which we still have fantastic breweries in the neighborhood. Think of the Meester, of course.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Meester. And that's not that far, and there are a few others going in there. Papa Hyde, Dixmude, yeah, good beers. The Dolle.
The Dolle, of course,
we're gonna talk
the
about
gods.
But I would say that the Dolle and Dixmude is already a bit further away, right? From Roeselare? Yeah, exactly.
Belgians are so cute about their geography.
Yeah, I know.
It's 15 kilometers.
It's like, yeah, exactly. You could like throw a ball that far, and they're just like, oh no, but we can't even understand their accents over there. Like, I don't know. Those guys, yeah, that's another region. it's true.
It seems like a lost region for me, especially that they had /have. We don't know what's going to happen with the tap room, but they did live concerts there. It's a nice venue. It might stay, and I hope it stays, and I hope the beers stay the same. We don't know. I think we both agree, however, this will not be the last time we hear this story. And it's exceptional that a good brewery, because we can say about Musketeers what we want, it's a good brewery, they make decent beers, that I would put in the same category, 1 foot in craft, 1 foot in mainstream or traditional, however you want to take it, has taken over the BOM. It's something that we haven't seen before in this store.
Yeah, normally it's some like big conglomerate or one of these like I don't know, private equity backed, fucking obnoxious.
I have a naughty question, and you don't have to answer. Have any breweries approached you ever to sell Stroom or any of your previous projects?
Never any direct financial interest or discussions like that, but we have had some interesting like visits from much bigger breweries where they were asking a lot of questions. I have no idea how that stuff works. I've never been in an industrial corporate takeover or whatever, so maybe they were just truly curious, or maybe they were sniffing around. I truly have no idea, but no.
I've done some corporate espionage this afternoon. I joined your tour this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have never done the tour here at Stroom, I can highly recommend it. Even I learned things.
Oh,
A few things even. I can't tell you what they were, but I learned things. So
they're all from yours truly.
that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to our next topic. But before we do you want another beer? By the way, what did we drink earlier? We should have actually started with that. What did you have?
I had a Carlito. It's my favorite.
If you're all good and you all stick around till the end of the podcast, there's one Carlito on me. For everyone. So stick around. That's it.
That gets the applause.
That's the applause. Of course it does. It's free beer. Before we continue, shall we have another beer? I brought a beer. And that's maybe. Yeah. I think you put it in the fridge.
I did.
Can you find it?
You keep them busy, I'll go find the beer.
Yes. Meanwhile, I'm gonna do the jingle. Ladies and gentlemen, we are having another beer. And we're gonna have, I think, the only iconic Easter beer that we currently have in our country. There are not that many. What does an Easter beer even mean?
That's a great question, I don't know.
Nobody knows. But what I do know, and think about this for a second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to switch to Dutch in a second, but this is mind-blowing. Listen carefully. Paaseieren, which are Easter eggs in Dutch, right? Yeah. Only have one letter different than paasbieren.
God.
Oh
yeah, my mind's blown.
Mind blown, ladies and gentlemen. No comment. Because it's true. With that light news, we're going to go to the darkest news of the podcast, but we have to say something. Like I said earlier, I started 5 years ago with this project. I wanted to highlight all the positive and beautiful sides of brewing. I wanted to talk about the beautiful people, like Erin that just came in, all these beautiful people.
Hey, buddy.
Hey. That was the original plan from the get-go 5 years ago, which originally actually was with my friend Arthur, who couldn't be here today, but that was the idea. Us two, we're gonna make a podcast about all the beautiful stories, about new releases, new styles, beer festivals, but it somehow is turning into more and more in the big bankruptcy show.
Yeah.
And we sadly have to talk about the next one, because it is in spirit quite similar to Doc, or maybe even a better example like Co-op in Brussels, because it started as a collaboration of fantastic brewers from different breweries in an old industrial site in the city. And not any city in this case, we're talking about wonderful Eindhoven, just across the border, and the brewery named after the legend.
Have you ever been to Eindhoven?
I've been many times in Eindhoven, I'll tell you why. And the brewery named after the legacy of that town, Lighttown Brewing. You worked for Philips.
I did.
So
I went to Eindhoven many times. Maybe I went to the wrong spots, but...
when was this?
10 years ago.
Okay, that makes sense.
But also, it just looked like a city that Philips built, but like 60 years ago. It was like an industrial wasteland. It was like going to, Gary, Indiana or something.
We were there at the same time. We might have been there together without knowing. Because
together apart.
My beautiful girlfriend Karen, who's soon to be my wife, she studied there in the design academy. So I was there many times.
That's why you were up there all the time.
Yes, and also because of good beer. And this brings me to Lighttown Brewing.
Yes.
Originally started in 22 as a collaboration between Van Mol, 100 Watt, and O13. The latter already went bankrupt 2 years ago, so there were some cracks in the wall early on. Situated at the Kade in the east of town, and we talked about crowdfundings and failed crowdfundings in our last podcast, and even asked the question if it's still actually ethical to ask money from fans this way. Well, we're gonna come back to that. Stay tuned. I think it can be. So let me really spoil that, but let's come back to that later. Lighttown actually started a crowdfunding round that was officially for a pasteurization line and a tasting room for brewery tours at the end of February. So just a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
That has failed. And it does seem like they needed that money for just staying alive, honestly.
Oh, no.
The grapevine and, Reddit, really, told me that the debts that were made through the bankruptcy of 013 were too high. And this is official sources, but it is an interesting way of saying it. It seems we're talking a few millions.
Holy shit.
Yes. But the reality is we don't know how many millions. The official website of bankruptcies of the Netherlands says there's a debt of a few millions, and that's all that we know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That doesn't sound like something that any crowdfunding could fix, honestly.
No. And if you need that much and you're not building like a friggin' empire with it, then
Which they didn't.
It was doomed.
What will happen to the production or Beersel Van Mol or 100 Watt? And those are two breweries that are near to our heart. I was just at Van Mol Festival last year. In fact, we even did a podcast about it. That's quite unclear. Before we dive...
Because to understand, they just brew at that facility?
Yeah, so the idea was that these are three different breweries that instead of brewing small batches at their home, they invested and they did a crowdfunding as a cooperative, just like Co-op did in Brussels.
Yep.
To brew at one site and share the brewing site, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And with that, lower the costs. And this is the first of those type of collaboratives that we know of that has failed.
Yeah. Yeah, because as a general rule, you're being smart. You're like using all that metal. It costs a lot of money.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. You're using it spreading it across lots of different companies.
I don't know what happened to 013. I don't know what the story is there. There's not a lot of information there as well, but this is about big hectoliters. Like it's a lot. Before we dive deeper in the story, I want to talk about crowdfunding. We dived into it in the last podcast.
Yep.
This is a different kind of crowdfunding, and I do want to talk about it because it is interesting. And I also highlighted it last time. You set up a specific what's called a win-win loan option earlier this year, and it's not the first time you did that.
No, it's the second time we did it.
Can you tell us what that means and what's the difference between that and the crowdfunding in layman's terms?
Sure. Like the biggest thing is that the win-win funds it's a whole structure that's supported by the government. I think the Flemish government, not the national government.
There's so many.
There's so freaking many. But the way it works is they set like a bunch of standards. There's only certain parameters you can charge for interest. They also back up the loan by, there's a minimum guarantee of, I think, 30 or 35% that, should the worst happen, you're at least guaranteed that as a kind of a tax credits in the future. And what's nice is it's all kind of like pre-baked for you. It's all set up for you. The first time we did it was indeed to add a bunch of new equipment here. Last year, we just started for the first time brewing some of our beers outside of here because frankly, I was like up against the wall. You can ask the other guys who work here, like every friggin' week, it was like, Farrell, when is the next batch of Mondello ready? And I had just packaged off like a double batch of Mondello. I was like, what the fuck? Where is the Mondello? So it was a luxury problem. We were selling more beer than we could produce. So we started producing at other facilities. But as Doc probably knows well, as soon as you do that, these huge batches of beer, they cost a lot of money. And then, God forbid, they sell really well. It turns out growth is really expensive because all of your cash is suddenly like tied up in inventory, and it's you've got way more clients, which is great, but all those clients, it turns out they owe you money. And so on your balance sheet, it looks great. It's like, yeah, we're super rich, everything's fantastic, but your bank account looks less great. And so we just needed to be able to finance it. And we had already financed it through banks and our own cash and whatever. But we thought for a while about it and decided, like, rather than going to these institutions like banks that we have one good banker who's very nice to us, so thank you to him. This isn't on him, but as a general rule, banks are not great to deal with.
They can be
And we decided we would much rather, instead of doing that, we would much rather be supported by the people who already support us.
What makes this then safer or more ethical than regular crowdfunding, though?
Well, part of it is that you have the government directly involved from the get-go, and they're kind of like insuring on the back end to some extent. So there's no way for everyone to lose all their money. Like, that's just, unless, I don't know, the whole country collapses or something, in which case you're not worried about your Stroom loan.
Sure.
And the other thing is that instead of, like, Brewdog is the big talk of the last
And
like,
a few others.
month,
Sure.
is that it's not equity. And so you cannot, like, we can't, like, gamble with your money and run the whole thing into the ground and leave you with nothing. We can't, like, sell to some private equity firm at pennies on the euro or whatever. So it's, nothing's guaranteed, of course, but like I was saying earlier, this industry is full of people who often make really good beer and know and care a lot about the beer, but are not particularly savvy in the many other aspects. I like to think that because I spent years as a data analyst and spend an immense amount of time in the spreadsheets and doing the projections, and that Carl has a long history as also an entrepreneur, that we're being savvy with it.
Two more things about that. First of all, Vitas, who is here, who also has a question later, he's a professional banker, correct?
Ah, okay.
You have a question or a remark, Vitas?
Remark, win-win leaning is you can bring in fiscally into your, if you do win-win leaning, you can bring it into your taxes, so you get the tax deduction.
Yes. Exactly.
This is a very Belgian thing then, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah.
This-
We've even had, of course, like I had like some family members reach out to me from the States, and I had to tell them, like, no.
That's not possible. You have
Yeah.
to be a Belgian resident.
Yeah.
Wow, Belgian
I think.
baby.
Do you have to be Flemish, like in Flanders, or no? I'm looking at Carl because, like, I'm talking a big game here, but he has to do all the shit shoveling. He's actually all the paperwork.
Applause for
Exactly.
Carl, ladies and gentlemen. He's doing all this. Why are breweries in Belgium not doing this more then?
I don't know. They should, or if they need it. Like, don't borrow money that you don't need. Of course,
True.
like leverage is leverage. You know, like if you can finance this stuff with your cash, do
Sure.
it with your cash.
I guess it also cuts both ways. What makes Stroom unique in that sense is that you've always been invested in the local community, hence all these beautiful people also here. Actually, not every brewery has that, of course. So
Yeah, true.
Here comes the drums. Nice. Let's start with a question from Roman. Roman, you're still here? Ah, there you are. Roman ask him to travel to Ukraine next year. I guess next year.
I traveled to Ukraine last year.
Oh, he says, ask him on travel to... no, that's what I misread the question. He says, ask him on your travels to Ukraine last year. That's what he means.
Yeah.
He also said, I need to leave, but I would be very happy. So, quickly, you've been to Ukraine.
I have been to Ukraine. I went last February.
You brewed together with Varvar.
Yeah, which was an incredible experience. They took incredible care of me. Getting in and out of Ukraine is also a hell of an experience. It's one of the most memorable things I've done, I think, in the last decade, and that was driven largely by Roman. We worked at we did the Wanderlust Beer Festival put on by
BBP, Brussels Beer Project, yeah.
who we also love.
Absolutely.
And we were just a few booths away from the Varvar people, and we got to know them really well. They were super cool, and they invited us over for a brew, and it was a great beer. It's an amazing brewery, and the fact, like, we all know there's a war going on there. We all, feel bad about it, whatever but like to get there and see what's actually happening, and more importantly, to see how people like them are making shit happen every single day. Like they've got a brewery like many times the size of ours, and they've still had to figure out all these crazy systems for when there's a missile strike and the power goes out or whatever, that they can like not ruin, 50,000 euros worth of beer that's sitting in tanks. And so they've built all these super clever systems for coping with that, and they're really just, they're living life, and they're pushing on. It was just a truly incredible experience. I would go back in a heartbeat. Yeah, gladly.
Thank you very much.
I have to say, I showed up, so I booked my travel, and then I traveled like 2 weeks later, and between those 2 weeks, the fucking genius who runs my country right now had his notorious Oval Office meeting with President Zelensky.
Oh,
It was
that
like-
shit show, yeah.
I was like so destroyed and so personally humiliated. Like I was kind of scared to go. I've been in war zones before. I wasn't scared to go to Kiev in like a safety sense, but I was just really ashamed. And to the Ukrainians' credit, they are very savvy people. They understand that politics is politics, and that I am not that sack of shit whose name I will not repeat here. And everyone was great. Even though they hated it, they were really upset by it, but they handled it very well.
Remember when I said earlier what surprised me, or like the things that like I like the most now when I work in beer, that I said that, okay, it's the beer, sure, but it's all the rest that's actually more amazing. You went to Ukraine to brew a beer, and we haven't talked about the beer you brewed there. Because it's technically, at that point, not so important.
Exactly. That's the least important thing. It was a great beer. I'm very proud of it. It was
nice as well, yeah.
but like whatever. Everything else around it was what was important.
We have another question, if we can move on. And it got asked through Instagram, but the man who asked it is here. Do you want to ask it right here? I have it written here.
What is the craft beer you miss from America and the big lager beer you miss from America, which you would recommend?
I definitely know one of my answers here. So the big lager I miss, that one's easy for me. It's Pabst Blue Ribbon. Yeah.
There's only one, isn't there? That's decent.
Absolutely. Probably you haven't heard of it here, but it's huge. It's everywhere in the States, and I cannot defend it as a beer, really. But when I first got out of high school and I moved to Denver, the big city, I was playing music at the time, and I was just playing in all these like crazy punk rock and noise rock bands, and those guys brilliantly, like, they could see that scene was just starting, and they got their beer into every dirty, sticky-floored, disgusting little rock and roll club across the whole country, including across Denver. And that was the only beer that all the rock and roll kids were drinking. And because of that, it will always be near and dear to my heart.
Craft beer, what are you missing?
There's a couple that come to mind. One is Oscar's Pale Ale.
Ah, nice.
They were the very first craft, also Colorado, I know I'm being a partisan here, but they were the very first craft brewery, so to speak, that put beer in cans. And when they did it, everyone was like, you guys are out of your goddamn minds.
Like the same in US?
Before Oscar Blues, we had the same religion you had here, which was like good beer goes in bottles, shitty beer goes in, Pabst Blue Ribbon goes into cans, Coors Light goes into cans, and like the good stuff goes in a bottle. And Oscar Blues completely changed all that.
In the 90s or
must be-
2000. It's
Might have been
sooner
earlier,
than
no?
no. It was like 2007 or
Really?
something.
That's
It was
late.
like later than you would expect.
Really? Because I think New Belgium was already doing beers in can.
I don't
already.
think so. I
Really?
think it was really Oscar Blue because New Belgium's very nearby. They're in the and that was the next one I was going to mention.
Really?
It's like
nice. Old school.
New
fat
Belgium's
tire. Fat tire.
old school fat tire, of course. That was like one of my gateway drug beers, and they changed it to some newfangled hoppy thing, of course, because the Americans and their hops.
Yeah.
But
and they probably shouldn't have done that because amber ales are getting back into
yeah,
style,
well,
baby.
I think they're bringing it back. The old,
should.
the old fat tire.
Are they
So
calling
those
it
are my-
Fat Tire Classic? I hope they do. Sounds great. Yeah. I have a question before we continue. We're having Boskeunen of de Dolle. This is not the type of style that we normally enjoy.
No.
What do you think? Interesting beer, isn't it?
I mean, it's hard for me to say anything negative against Dolle Brouwers. This is one of those breweries, you may not know this label, but you maybe know the label style.
Yeah.
Dolle Brouwers is one of those breweries that like all the craft beer geeks in the US know, and then I moved here, and you say it to like 98% of Belgians, and they're like, who? Like, no one here knows, but this is one of the real treasures of this country.
But this is not your beer.
But this one's not my beer. It's a bit sweet.
It's brewed in honey, which I think is
Is that
interesting.
what it is?
Because honey beers are difficult, and you can feel that they're trying like, hey, this is honey,
Yep.
but there's bitterness underneath. It's like, hey,
We're complex.
we're complex, baby. It's a bit like honey on a Saturday. Honey, but bitter underneath. Ladies and gentlemen, any more questions from the audience? We have a question. Yeah, Karen, you can come over here.
Hi, Farrell.
Hey.
No, we can't. So I was wondering, when in the last couple of months did you had the feeling that you needed to adapt in your way of working, or when something encountered at Stroom? Yeah, that something didn't turn out as you were.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, what I have learned, honestly, like the biggest lesson I had to learn running Stroom, there's been many lessons. I've literally worked in like active war zones. I've been shot at for a living, and I will tell you, this is the hardest thing I ever did in my whole life. Like, unequivocally. Yeah, exactly. But the biggest lesson I learned here was that every single week brings some crisis. I mean, when I first started here, I had this like real hang up. Being an American, I was very self-conscious, like brewing beer in Belgium. Like it felt like unfair, and like everyone was gonna like have a real problem with like, who the hell is this guy? Like we brew the beer. But and the joke I always made was like, I founded this brewery with a Belgian who gives us our legitimacy, but like the American dude is brewing the beer, and me, who's supposed to be the dirty capitalist, I'm just making the beer, and he's supposed to have beer in his DNA, and he gets to do all the admin for the win-win loans. But no, everyone's been super cool about it. But it was just that like every week brings a new crisis, and early on, it would eat me alive. You know, because it's this huge production process, if one little piece of equipment breaks, like everything stops. You know, if your little labeling machine doesn't want to label, like it doesn't matter how many cans of beer you produce, like you can't sell a single one of them or whatever. And there's a million of those. So in the last couple months, I don't even know, because what I learned is like, every week's going to be a new crisis, and I can solve all of them.
Nice.
And they don't faze me anymore. This is not what keeps me awake at night. I just like, you roll through it. It's going to get figured out.
You know what you're gonna ask next? What does keep you awake at night?
Oh
Is
God.
there anything that keeps you awake at night? I hope not. You never know.
Yeah. What is it that keeps me awake at night?
This is the last question. Now I took it. I took it.
Keep it positive, yeah.
No. This can be positive. I'm a metalhead. This is all positive.
No, well, the biggest thing is just that, like, we're a very small company, and while we all have our roles, you know, I'm supposed to be head of production, and we've got a sales guy, and Carl does literally everything else. When you're that small, like, everyone does everything, and what it means is, like, the list of to-dos, it never ends. There's probably things on my to-do list that have been sitting there for 4 years. Like some little thing in the building that I know needs addressing, needs fixed, whatever, and it's just like on the 1,000 things I have to do, like I just haven't gotten to it yet. And so what keeps me up at night is like I just remember one of my million things. I'm like, oh shit, I need to, whatever. I need to email that client back about the brewery tour that I should have emailed back 3 days ago and I forgot or whatever. And like those things, literally, I'm not kidding, like pop me out of bed. I suddenly sit up. I'm like, oh God. Yeah.
If that's it, that's very small stake, and that's good because that means you can solve those very quickly.
Yeah.
And they're not the biggest issues in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we're running long, so we're gonna end this with a game, which you all can participate in.
I have no idea what this game is.
No, I'm gonna explain. This is for you.
Okay.
You have it? I have one as well. Ladies and gentlemen,
It's called beer pong. It's good.
it goes as follows. Farrell writes down a famous beer. That's important. And I can't look.
Oh.
I write down a famous beer, and then we give the plate to each other. Clipboard, yes, thank you for correcting that. The 10% Bosken does not help.
Oh my God, it's 10%.
I don't know.
I don't drink those, you know this.
It's 9. We're good.
9.
We're good. We're good. It's only 9. It's only 9. It's good. We're good. The game is as follows. I have to guess which beer you wrote down. You have to guess which beer I wrote down. However, the audience is going to help. How does this work? Each of us asks a question.
Okay.
A yes or no question.
Oh God.
Yes.
Is this where I get exposed as a fraud who doesn't
No.
know anything about
Because
like
the
these famous
reality is
beers?
that I need to write down a beer that I'm pretty sure you know.
Yeah.
And you need to write down a beer that you're pretty sure that I know.
Yeah.
And before we begin, we're going to check with the audience. Everybody sure that we know these beers? I think we're probably going to go mainstream. We don't have to, but as long as we're sure that it's a beer that we know.
Are we keeping it to Belgium or is it?
No, you can go wherever you want.
Okay.
That's the fun part. Because one of the questions can be, is it a Belgian beer, right?
Okay.
The idea of it is that the first of us who gets the answer, because we're going to go back and forth. Well, good news. After this game, I pay around anyway. But here's the thing. We don't say the answers. The audience does. You have to just shout yes or no when we ask the questions, okay?
Oh.
So
I would point out
these
we
are going
have,
to be very simple beers.
we have a few beer experts here in the audience.
For
We
an
have one
example,
right there.
let's give an example. Let's say I write down Stella Artois, right? Yeah, I know. I wouldn't write that down, don't worry. This is just an example.
Yep.
And I give it to Farrell. You know Stella Artois, you've heard of that beer before.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. You can then start asking questions. Is it a Belgian beer? Is it a lager? Those kind of things.
Yep.
This is how you turn it down. We are a hive mind. Yes, we are a hive mind. And you just shout the answer, yes or no.
How can we know?
But we will show it to you. Yeah.
Clear.
Okay. We just got. Make sure I don't see yours. Make sure you don't see mine.
I think I chose very poorly, but
No, you have.
whatever.
So, do we all know these beers? Yes. Are we certain that both of us know these beers? Yes.
Okay.
I think this should work, right, Farrell? Because although you're the host, because we're staying in yours, you're the guest on my podcast.
Fair enough.
You can start with a question.
Is this beer made in Belgium?
Now it's
Okay.
my turn. I'm gonna start with a different question, which is this beer not made in Belgium? Yes. Nice! I have all the rest of the world.
Is this beer blonde? No. Oh,
Ooh.
interesting.
And you're on a better track than I am. Location is important. Is it European? Am I a European beer? Yes. Good. Aha! It's the bloody UK. I love it.
It's not a beer. It's Europe. It's
Ah, it's the okay.
Is this beer Trappist?
no.
Fuck.
Am I considered to be mass-produced as in a macro beer? Yes. Okay.
Ooh, that's a good question.
I have no clue.
Oh, what do I ask? Is this beer sold in Deleuze? Or in like a grocery store? Will I find it in a grocery store?
Some areas.
Oh, God. You guys are not helping.
But just to get it out of the way, is my beer situated from the UK?
Yes.
I'm Irish. Oh, wait. Oh boy,
Center of the world.
this is weird. I have no clue where you're going. That's UK adjacent. Okay, go ahead.
This is bullshit. No one's giving me tips like that.
They gave you a tip of the laser. That's.
Is my beer found in cans?
It might be one of those beers that's on 1st of April. I think it actually is. I'm not sure. Can someone look that up?
Well, whatever. I get the point.
Am I Irish? Yeah. Nice. What could it be? What could it be?
You're gonna have to pick from that giant list of famous Irish beers.
Probably Murphy's.
Yeah. Keep going that direction. Ah, echt.
Not sold in cans. There we go.
Is this beer red?
It's Bill.
I would consider it to be red. Absolutely.
Reddish.
I'm gonna ask a question just to be sportive. Is my beer black? Nice.
God damn it.
Yeah, but you can still have it. You can still have
Okay,
it.
so I heard an does my beer come in a famously round
No.
glass?
Guessing is a question. So, sorry.
Yeah.
No, you know
Let's
what?
hear it. Let's hear it.
For the competition. 3, 2,
Oh,
one. Guess.
I'm a fucking Guinness.
Yeah.
Oh, you know it as well?
Monica?
Hey, well done. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure to have you on the live podcast of the Hoppestraat. Before you go, just two more things. First of all, Farrell, do you have any socials we can find you, or Stroom or anything like that?
Stroom Brouwers. Find us on Instagram, that's best. Please do not write us on Facebook, we won't answer.
That's good. Ladies and gentlemen, I also have good news. I will get you all a beer of Carlito, but before we do, I want to ask everyone to come close so we can take a selfie and a picture together. And that'll be the picture for the podcast. So come closer. And thank you.
3, 2, 1.
Dank allemaal, fijne avond nog. Doei.
Yes.
Want ik hoop in te drinken.